Hello, this is Ebonygeek. You're always welcome to join me in expanding your knowledge base. Comments are always welcome, and please subscribe. Okay, so like I said, up here it's saying, well, we're declaring our on high function here. Anytime you see our on high function, go look for the definitions. So now we have our on high function, and we're telling the loop, okay, we're using our on high function prototype. Stop right here. Go find the definition because it's there. You just need to find it, run it, and then come right back here. So what the loop is going to do is it's going to go, okay, we need the on high function. Okay, we know it's in here. So it's going to go and find it. Where is it? It's right there on high. Now what do? We run the code that's in our on high function. Now once the code is done, it's going to go right back up to our on high prototype, and it's going to run the code in here from there on. So technically what we could do now is we could run the code. So let's go ahead and do it. Let's hit verify. Okay, and it's verifying. You see the status right there. Okay, it's done verifying. And well, it's doing this thing. I'll just put it like that. It's taking it a second. Okay, so it's verified. You see it's done. There's nothing there. I didn't have my Uno plugged in, so now we have our Uno plugged in. Let's make sure to select our Blinky or our project. Okay, so let's upload it. As you can see, it's firing off, it's building. We should have blinky, blinky, blinky going on. It ran fine. Flash verified. Thank you. Okay, so what we did was we just ran our function that was prototyped here. Okay, so it did exactly what we said to do. We declared it there. Okay, now the compiler knows we have function prototypes. Then we added it here. Then when it got to the loop, because the compiler reads from the top to the bottom, when it got here, it said, okay, we have this function prototype. Stop right now after this line and go and find it. So it went here in the function definition and it found it. It ran the code that's in, or which is actually two predefined functions that Arduino supplies. It ran the code, and then when it was done running the code and it was done with this on high function, it went back up to the loop to where it ended, and it went to the next line and it ran the code below. Okay, then when it was done with that code, it will loop back up, because remember, this is a loop. It's going to run the on high proto function, and then it's going to run this code as well. So this function prototype is doing exactly what this code is doing, but guess what? It's only one line. Okay, and still these two lines, and it may not seem like a lot right now, but when you have a function that has 40 to 50 lines, easily it could go up to 40 to 50 lines easily. You can have functions this way longer. Okay, that's when this proto function will really shine, because when you put it in your loop code, it will be just this one line, and then you could put all your code comfortably at the bottom out of the way, and then it'll know to stop here, run the code, go find it first, run the code, and then once the code is ran, come back up here and finish the code this here. Okay, so I'm hoping that you understand this concept, because it's gonna help you a lot with your function readability when you go, okay, well, this is on high. Well, I know what that is, and you can actually hover over it and get a little summary, okay? Rather than having it right there, well, you know what you wrote, but you could organize and optimize it better by putting it in a function prototype. So let's go ahead and cut this, okay? Cut that. So highlight it or select it and cut it. Then we're going to go down and let's go ahead and add our other function prototype. We see it right there. Is void on low parameters, enter, add your curly brackets. If you put one curly bracket and enter, the IDE will add the other one. I'm just going to put 2 more lines there so that I can put my code in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and paste the code that we just cut from above. Okay, and that's our second function prototype. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to go back up here, because now that we have it defined below, we just want to add our proto function, and it's going to be on low. And close the brackets. It's going to do the same thing. So if we go ahead and verify it, okay, by hitting the check, you see it running here. It doesn't take that long this time. And upload it. Remember to plug in your Arduino so you don't have the problems that I had the first time. It'll let you know when it's not plugged in. Okay. And if you want to preview it in your console to make sure everything ran fine, you can. Okay. If you see the AVR dude is showing you how many bytes the program is, and if you see flash verified, you know it's good. And it runs upload done, as you can see. So we're good. And this code does exactly what our first set of code does. But see, remember before when we didn't have our variable, okay, this is our variable block. So we added a variable to the first example basic code, okay. We added a variable block. So now we added a declaration block. Okay, remember, comments are good. Okay, so we have our declaration block. And then we can add another comment to let it know below here is our function block. Okay. And we could go down to where our function prototypes is. After our functions, this is our function block. Well, actually, we could just put function prototype definition block. Okay. All right. And we have our code organized. We actually have it commented out. Anybody who is looking at this code can easily come in and see what's going on. Okay. I know it seemed like a lot of comments, but like I said, comments are good. Okay, we have our functions neatly prototyped. We have them used here. We have them declared here. So we have a declaration. We have where we used them. We have the definitions. Okay, so I hope that that is explaining to you, first of all, the predefined functions, which we have the voice setup and the loop. Well, that's a different kind of predefined function. That's a required function that we need, okay, for the program to run. Our predefined functions, okay, That's functions that Arduino supplies for us. So we have our pin mode that's already set up as a function. All we need to add is the parameters to it. Okay, then we also have our digital write predefined function, and as I'm hovering over it, you see all of the code they've already done for you. Then we have our delay predefined function, and like I said, all of the code is already done. They've done it for you. That's one of them goodies. So we're seeing our predefined function. Then we also did our own user defined functions here, and as you see, this is the code that we did as the user here. Okay, now another thing to explain is any comments that you put over your function is going to show up also in the coding. So that's something else to keep in mind. As you see, we have no comment over our onload function, and so no comment shows up. But we have the comment for our function prototypes over our function, and so it shows up. So that would stand to figure, if you want to comment every function, make sure to put it over your function. It'll come up when you hover over it as another helpful part of coding. I know that it's probably a lot to take in right now, but practice this, because this is something that's going to help you in your coding period. And something you need to understand is coding is just one part of the microcontroller world. We're just in the Uno board part of it. There's also other boards like the mini, the nano, and there's a new one that just came out. So, and you could go to the Arduino site in order to see what that one is. We also had a mega board. So the coding is really still the same. It's just a matter of what pins you'll be using and what that pin do, and so how to program that pin. Something like Battleship, you're gonna put the pin in the correct, or you're going to put the wire in the correct pin, and then you're going to program it. The coding is just one part of it. Then we had an electronics part of it, and combined together, that's how you're going to get a whole bunch of good results. So the more you know about the programming, and like I said, this part that we just explained with creating function prototypes, defining them, and using them, is very important, because you're going to be doing that, and it you don't have to, but it will make it a whole lot easier. As far as you can see, this is 2 lines of coding that we have in this loop. Our actual functions are 2 lines, so we actually cut our coding in our loop in half, and we put the bulky part of the coding below. So understanding that will help you a lot. Do the practice on it. Make sure you understand it. The more you do practice and understand it, the better it will be for you in the long run. Have a great rest of your day. Happy coding. Bye-bye. I'm Ebonygeek, and I hope that the information provided has been helpful to you. Please remember to subscribe. Happy building and happy coding.